Okay, so if you click on the PowerPoint directions for the three timelines, it's going to have all the information that you guys need to complete your ceramic history timelines. You guys have 3 blocks to work on this. I set aside 2 blocks for painting and glazing, and whether you start with glazing first or timeline first, it's up to you because we have 3 weeks left until the end of the semester. We have 6 blocks. The last one is going to be our final test, so that leaves 5 blocks of work time. When you guys are working on this ceramics history timeline, it's based off this resource that's broken down into 3 different sections. You're going to be creating a timeline for row number 1, a timeline for row number 2, and a timeline for row number 3, and all 3 are going to be set up exactly the same. You're going to be choosing one image from each reference photo. So when I talk about a reference photo, it's one section, okay, one section of each row. And you're going to be writing 3 descriptive sentences, not copying directly from the timeline. It's going to be in your own words, and you're going to draw and color one image. The information in the image can come from the timeline or additional research on your own. Your drawing needs to be accurate. So for those of you that say, oh, I'm just not good at drawing, I'll do this for 10 seconds and just throw something on there. Nope, I'm going to have a video for you guys. You guys can watch that if you need help drawing different pieces. When you color it, you need to use at least 2 colored pencils, and it needs to be colored well. I don't want to see all the lines in it. When you write and draw, you're going to be doing that on a separate piece of paper and you're going to glue it down later. It really helps when you're trying to arrange your timeline, and if you make any mistakes, it makes it easier to fix it. If you're at home, you can use copy paper or any other notebook paper. That'll be just fine. Each timeline is going to include 3 descriptions and 3 drawings, and you can choose any of the items to write your description on. So here's the example that might make this a little bit more clear. So this was row number 1. I broke it into 3 sections, so when I took photos of it, it would show up a little bit more clear. You're going to pick an image. So if I'm looking at number 1, I need to pick one from here, one from here, one from here, so you can see the images that I chose according to the arrows. You're going to write in your own words 3 sentences, not, it is brown, it is good. You want to actually get some information and some facts from the text that you see, and if there's not enough to write 3 complete sentences, then you need to do some research online. And then you're going to draw and color an accurate image of the pottery or the ceramics, and it can be from another source. So I use the image here for this drawing. I use the image here for this drawing. For this one, I did something a little bit different to show you guys an example, because with Paleolithic art, if you guys choose that, there's a lot of abstract nudity. And if you don't have the maturity to draw it, if somebody around you is going to look at what you're drawing and they don't have the maturity to handle it, just know that you need to pick something different. And so they depicted human forms, but they also depicted animals. So go with an animal for that one, or choose a different image from this page here. Once you guys finish getting those 3 pieces, then you're going to take your timeline, and it's a long piece of paper, and you're going to draw a horizontal line right down the middle. And if you are at home, you just move on to timeline 2 and 3 and gather your information for timeline 2 and 3, and you'll glue it down when you get back. Then you're going to glue these down to your timeline, and then you're going to use the remaining space to fill in any of the items on your timeline. And I do want you guys to do all of them. Make sure they're placed in the correct order on your timeline. And then I want you to use a black or colored marker and highlight and outline um, the pieces that you guys expanded on and you did your drawings on. I want the titles either in pen or marker along with the year, the actual lines on the timeline itself, the horizontal and vertical lines, little dots showing where exactly they are on that timeline. And then really the only thing that should be left in pencil is the text, your 3 sentences, and then all the different periods that you guys didn't expand upon, but we want them in the timeline. You're going to repeat this process for timeline number 2 and 3. It took me about 90 minutes to finish this timeline when I was at home and I was multitasking with a 2-year-old. It should be plenty of time for you guys to finish 3 timelines in 3 blocks. I'm going to show you guys where to find your resources as well. If I go through this direction, then I go to next, and then it's going to have timeline resource number 1. And this is that row from the PowerPoint that I showed you. So row number 1, timeline number 1. And it just kind of zooms in a little bit more. So there's 1, 2, and 3 images. So remember, you pick 3 different photos to work with. When you're looking at this, it's kind of hard to see, kind of hard to read. So let's say I want to look at this tablet a little bit closer. I can zoom in on these images and I can still read it from the computer screen. So if you're having issues with it, zoom in. And so I gave you guys 3 images for number 1, 3 different images for number 2, And then the last one, again, has 3 images for number 3. And these are all different. So please don't message me saying I already did a timeline because you're doing 3 on 3 separate periods of time. When we get back into the modules, you guys are going to be turning these in class. You're not going to be turning anything in online and unless for some reason you're quarantined for the full 3 weeks or sick for the full 3 weeks before semester. If you guys have any questions, just message me on Canvas or ask me in class if you're there.